Welcome to the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. This is your time of the day to learn a little bit about the law while you enjoy your lunch. On Friday's lunch break, we dealt with the question, did CNN's Jim Acosta commit assault or battery on the young female White House intern during the president's press conference last Wednesday? We reviewed the law of assault and battery, we defined the law, gave some examples, then applied the law to the facts of the case. We ruled out assault because that would have required Acosta to intentionally cause the woman to fear imminent apprehension of harmful or offensive bodily contact. We concluded that didn't happen. We then focused on battery. I then asked my viewers to comment online with their answers. Did Jim Acosta commit battery on that young female White House intern? The video did pretty well. We reached 2,761 people. We got 926 views, 322 engagements, 16 shares, and 13 comments. None of the commenters found that either an assault or battery occurred in this instance, including Madeline Corley, who wrote, "Hell nah." And I agree. Now, we have another case to examine. Television personality Tucker Carlson, host of the eponymous show on Fox News, was involved in a confrontation at his country club in Virginia. According to news reports and a statement issued by Mr. Carlson, here's what he said. On October 13th, I had dinner with two of my children and some family friends. Toward the end of the meal, my 19-year-old daughter went to the bathroom with a friend. On her way back through the bar, a middle-aged man stopped my daughter and asked if she was sitting with Tucker Carlson. My daughter had never seen the man before. She answered, "That's my dad," and pointed to me. The man responded, "Are you Tucker's whore?" He then called her an effing something horrible. My daughter returned to the table in tears. She soon left the table and the club. My son, who was also a student, went into the bar to confront the man. I followed. My son asked the man if he called his sister a whore and a horrible word. The man admitted he had, and again became profane. My son threw a glass of red wine in the man's face and told him to leave the bar, which he soon did. The club spent more than 3 weeks investigating the incident. Last week, they revoked the man's membership and threw him out of the club. A video taken by a patron shows the end of the incident after Tucker's son dumped a glass of wine on the middle-aged man. In the video, one can hear Mr. Carlson saying, standing directly in front of the seated man, a couple of times, Carlson says, "Get the F out of here," and he says to someone in management, "Get this effing A something out of here." Now, we know the patron's name is Mr. Juan Manuel Granados. He claims in his statement that he gave that Tucker threatened him with physical violence and told him to go back where you came from before the other patrons started filming. Mr. Granados claims he threw his glass of wine at young Master Carlson in retaliation for young Master Carlson doing it to him. Now, Mr. Juan Manuel Granados is now, of course, represented by the creepy porn lawyer Michael Avenatti, who claims he's going to file all sorts of lawsuits against Tucker Carlson and his son regarding this incident. Did Mr. Carlson assault the middle-aged man? That's the question. Tucker Carlson clearly didn't commit battery because he didn't touch the man. But what about Tucker's son, who threw the glass of wine on the man? We'll talk about that in a bit. So let's look at assault. An assault occurs whenever an actor intentionally causes an imminent apprehension of a harmful or offensive bodily contact. The victim's apprehension must be reasonable, and the actor must take some affirmative action in an attempt to carry out the threatened harm. I gave this example on Friday. An assault occurs when you say to another, maybe during a heated exchange about whether or not Hillary Clinton had the election attempted to be rigged in her favor, and you're arguing with someone, and you say, "I'm going to punch you in the face," and you clench your fist and cock your arm back. That would likely be an assault. Did Tucker Carlson act intentionally to give the patron imminent apprehension of harmful or offensive bodily contact? Remember, his son had just thrown a glass of wine on the man, and Tucker was standing over top of him, and the man was seated at the bar, and Tucker is repeatedly saying, "Get the F out." So, it's not clear to me. I think the case is going to come down to credibility. Tucker denies threatening the man with violence. The man claims Tucker threatened him with violence, so it will depend upon what the witnesses say. In the meantime, I'll let you be the judge. Comment directly on Facebook Live with your answer. Did Tucker Carlson commit assault against Mr. Juan Manuel Granados seated at the bar. What about Tucker's son? Did he commit battery? The tort of battery is defined as an act done with an intent to cause a harmful or offensive contact with the body of another, and that directly or indirectly results in the harmful or offensive contact. It's an intentional tort. Did Tucker's son intend harmful or offensive contact when he dumped the wine on the man? The wine did come into contact with the man. Now, the wine probably wasn't harmful unless it was some cheap Chablis, but was it offensive? What is offensive contact? Well, offensive contact is contact that offends the reasonable sense of personal dignity of the man. Did that happen? Was his personal dignity offended? Do you think it's reasonable to conclude that his personal dignity was offended when he had the wine dumped all over him? You be the judge. Did young Master Carlson commit the tort of battery against the bar patron? Now, let's assume the offensive touching did occur. Is that the end of the case? Does the patron win? Well, does Mr. Carlson, young Tucker Carlson, have a defense? There is a defense, the use of harmful or offensive bodily contact to prevent or terminate an intrusion upon the actor's possession of property is privileged, and so can be done without civil consequence. But did that happen? Was young Master Carlson attempting to prevent or terminate an intrusion upon his possession of property? No, he wasn't. He was acting with chivalry when he was defending the honor and dignity of his sister. But that's not privileged conduct. Chivalrous conduct is not privileged at law. So you can act chivalrously and defend the honor of your sister, but you may also have to pay the price in court. And we'll see what happens to young Master Carlson. In my view, he very likely committed the tort of battery. But what do you think? You be the judge. 2 questions for you judges out there to decide. Did Tucker Carlson commit the tort of assault against Mr. Granados seated at the bar? And then second, did young Master Carlson, Tucker's son, commit the tort of battery when he dumped his glass of wine on Mr. Granados? So, there you have it. You have the facts. You have the law. It's time to render your decision. What is the verdict? Comment live right on our Facebook here, and we'll read the results tomorrow. Well, that's about all the time we have, or on YouTube, or however else you'd like to comment. That's about all the time we have today for the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. I hope you learned a little bit about the law of assault and battery. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your lunch.